We are developing a new generation of entrepreneurs to provide practical tools to teach young people how to build businesses and to create employment for others. In Lagos, the possibilities are endless. Èkó ò ní bàjẹ́ o.
Lagos State, in partnership with AGDC, presents Ignite, powered by First Bank and supported by Bank of Industry.
Well, it's another moment on Ignite, and I do have a guest. My guest is a charming young woman, very smart, dynamic, aggressive, and a 21st century woman. Because she's the chief executive officer of a technology-driven company with a feminine touch, even in the name of the company. She's an entrepreneur, and she's a trailblazer, a wife, a mother, a child of God, but most important of all, someone that would inspire you, as I bring her on to the Inspire Me moment. Let's put our hands together for Doyin Odufa. She's the Managing Director of Digital Jewels.
It's been an exciting journey, challenging no doubt, as I think running any business is in Nigeria, but it's been exciting. We set up with a very clear focus to focus on specialized areas of IT. So our intention is never to be all things to all persons, but to focus on our areas of competence and add distinctive value. That would be what I would call our major impetus, to add distinctive value to all our customers and stakeholders as a whole. Digital Jewels is a specialized IT and project management, consulting and capacity building company. We provide specialized services to organizations who wish to improve and maximize the value of their information assets. Because I had been in the industry, I had a bit of a network to work with, but just setting up the business, trying to set up the business at the same time as getting out there and finding business and establishing was a bit of a challenge. There are also operational challenges that anybody faces in running a business. In Nigeria, I mean, the overheads are huge. So the challenge of managing people, managing the business, managing the business development activities, I think were quite a lot. The reward for us was that we made progress very quickly. We made an impact in the market very quickly. So that reinforced our belief that we're on the right track, and that continues to encourage us, to go forward. That's how we started. That's where we still are, because those 5 areas provide for us so much scope, to grow. Our objective is not just to be within the Nigerian space, but indeed to go to definitely all the English-speaking, and indeed we have already started to touch some French-speaking areas of Africa. Up-and-coming entrepreneur, I encourage you all to show integrity. Integrity is important in business. What is integrity? It's a big word sometimes that we use often, but it simply means doing what you say and saying what you do. There is a tendency, because we want to impress our customers, we want to make an impression, we want to get far quickly, to overpromise and underdeliver. It only just lets you down. You may not always be the very best, but because people can see your sincerity, they can tell that they can trust you, they can tell that you have integrity, they will give you an opportunity. It's a tough business environment. So following through, keeping at it. The door may not open the first time you knock. So you have to go back again and knock. And you have to go back again and say, did you say no or did you say not now? You know, so it's that tenacity, being very, very resilient.
Ignite, from dreams to reality. From the great city of Lagos, it's another inspiring episode of Ignite. Practical business advice taking you from dreams to reality. Ignite, from dreams to reality.
Just tell my people what Digital Jewels is all about.
Hello, everybody. Digital Jewels is an IT and project management consulting and capacity building company. You know, we call ourselves an information value chain company. It's really about helping organizations make better use of information as a corporate asset. You know, typically people look at assets as physical things, you know, so the bank will secure its head office from physical threats. But the reality is that for a lot of corporate organizations, and indeed even ourselves as individuals, as professionals, information is an asset. And the whole idea behind Digital Jewels is getting people to recognize information as an asset that should be secured, that should be assured, that should be utilized effectively, you know, and managed effectively to give the organization competitive advantage. So we deliver a number of consulting solutions around securing the assets, assuring it, providing project management services, doing work around e-business, and also capacity building. Capacity building for us is training. Training for individuals. We all need to continually enhance our skill set. It is extremely important. The investments you make in yourself, nobody can take it away from you. So training and also providing recruitment and outsourcing services for these organizations, specialist services. So really that's what Digital Jewels is about. It's about creating a shift between looking at an asset as something that you can touch and feel and move physically to something that is intangible, but yet probably a lot more valuable than the things that you can touch and feel.
Note the key word, creating a shift from a traditional mindset and the way something is perceived to another way, and that is the core of the business. So remember what we said about initiating your businesses and the way to look at it. Now, from your experience in starting up, give us an idea of your background and then tell us what the journey has been into Digital Jewels.
Well, I come from a very happy and secure family. I had a very happy childhood, and I think that has put me in very good stead to do what I'm doing now. I come from a family that grounded me with very good values about life and about the importance of hard work and, you know, keeping at it and being truthful and just being the best that you can be. I was born and brought up in Lagos. I've lived in Lagos all my life, apart from brief periods when I was, you know, pursuing my education abroad. I went to a primary school called Fountain School. I went to Queen's College in those days, and then I went to the University of Ife, as it was known when I joined. Currently known as Obafemi Awolowo University. I studied computer science and economics there. And that was because somewhere along my 4th and 5th year in secondary school, I couldn't quite decide what I wanted to do. I was fairly good at the sciences, I was fairly good at the arts. And I remember watching a documentary one day, and it was all about computers and the power of computers and how computers are going to change the world. And I said, you know what, I want to study computer science. And so I did that. And I found it an interesting experience, although, you know, those were back in the days when we didn't quite have the facilities that we needed. So one of the things that really helped me while I was in school was having to do attachments with organizations, which was compulsory for us, IT. And I found it very useful because I worked in organizations. It taught me a little bit about organizational life. And then after that, I started off with software programming and design. I really enjoyed programming because it speaks to my logical approach to life. I enjoyed that. But after a while, I decided that it wasn't quite enough because I was programming with a team of people working in an indigenous software development company. And we used to enjoy what we did a lot. But sometimes we would deliver solutions to the client, and the client will say, who is an accountant amongst you? And we'll say, nobody. And he will say to us, well, I can see why you've developed this solution in this way, because you're not looking at it from a certain perspective. So I thought to myself, it was important to go and get a bit more business exposure, seeing as the solutions that we're going to be developing will be for the business at the end of the day. So I went to study for an MBA, but I still was very passionate about IT. So I looked for a specialist MBA in information technology management, which I did at the City University Business School at the Barbican Center in London. It's now called the Cass Business School. And again, that was a very eye-opening experience for me. The most fundamental thing for me, apart from the exposure to business, was the way that I was taught. You know, we have a way of teaching in Nigeria where you're just taught to know. And it's different. What I realized during my MBA was that I was taught to apply. And I was taught to challenge concepts, which was quite foreign for me, having been, come from IFE, where the lecturer just tells you, you know what, know it. And by the way, don't stray from my notes too much when you're giving it back to me. So this was very different. And again, as I say, it opened up my mind. So when I came back, I decided that I wanted to go out into the big bad business world, And I did I spent about a year at the Lagos Business School in the MIS department, supporting research and facilitation. Gave me an idea of what the industry was like, because at the LBS, you come in contact with a lot of captains of industry. After that, I went on to work with an indigenous IT company, essentially offering IT services like audits and system design and strategy design, that type of work, training. I did that for about 4 years. I enjoyed it. And then after that, I left to join a bigger consulting company, a management consulting company called Philips Consulting, where I worked for about 8 years. I joined to set up the information systems practice and, to build it up and give it some recognition in the industry. After doing that for about 8 years, I decided that there was an opportunity to deepen the areas that I focused on, the IT areas, because Philips doing so many other things apart from IT. I decided, okay, why not set up an organization that will deepen the services that we were offering, maybe a little bit on the surface, and really, really get into it. And that's really what Digital Jewels is about. It's a specialized IT company. So every member of staff that offers services is a specialist in one form of IT or the other. Because IT is a very broad field, and really, if you really want to make an impact, it's good to focus on a specific area. So we're focused on 5 key areas of IT. As I said before, it's security, it's assurance, it's project management, e-business, and then capacity building. And that's essentially what Digital Jewels is about. Mrs. Awushika talked about the name Digital Jewels. It does speak to the femininity, I know. But initially, what was at the back of our minds when we came up with the name was that in information security, there is a term called Digital Crown Jewel. Digital Crown Jewel, and it just talks about information. A jewel is obviously always something that is precious, that is priced. Okay, so a digital crown jewel is like the most precious jewel in the house or in the palace. And so that was the term that was used for information at that time. And I was sharing this with one of our foreign partners. He was Canadian, and he said to me, no, it's still feminine, because if it was a man, he would have said crown, he would have said Digital Crown is the name of the company. Because you decided to call it Digital Jewels, I thought Digital Crown Jewels was too long. He said it still shows the femininity in you. But my femininity is not something that embarrasses me or that I have any apologies about.
You must never apologize for being a woman, for many reasons. Name, you're well cut, you're beautiful, you're smart, you add color to the world, you bring smiles to the faces of people. And the African woman has this, and my Italian friends say, if you have this, it means you're naturally lucky. So don't even apologize for being an African woman.
Ignite, from dreams to reality.